Those are good push-ups.
I had a conversation with this kid on my side where I think like I mean one of my friends. I think that'd be on my computer. And do you know what we'll do? We'll take a picture of your face and post it on.
All right, Malachi, mask on. Ben, mask on. All right, any questions on the homework before we grade it? Nothing? Pretty easy, right? All right, here we go. 2 to 24 evens. Number 2 is 4. Number 4 is -3. Number 6 is -62. Number 8 is -21. Number 10 is 9. Number 12 is 19. Number 14 is -2. Number 16 is -8. Number 18 is 12. Number 20 is -11. 22, A and B. A is -24. B is -6. It's not like the other day where both A and B were the same answers. Malachi, look at your paper graded. Division is not commutative. Very nice. You know the drill. 24 didn't have an A or B, just had one answer. 96. And that was it.
I got that.
All right, Keegan's coming around. All right, reminder, next week is not CMAS. The week after that, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will just simply do a quarter review, 1 quarter for each day. I will also, during that time, show you some of the questions, the practice test questions that they give me, give you a flavor of what the test will look like. Obviously, you guys are not taking the math. I still want to show you just so you can see that stuff. But we were still going to do a quarter review for the math. We're going to pretend. There are a couple people in the 7th grade that their parents said that, yes, they want their student to take the math test too. So anyway, I will let them not be embarrassed publicly. Right?
You can't embarrass me publicly.
But some parents are like, yeah, I want my kid tested for both language arts and math. So they selected that and they're going to take it. So we will also do that review at the same time.
I have a feeling my mother did that without telling me.
I believe I already told you this, and I cautiously say this on the review days, just these review days. I don't mean like normal review days. On these review days, I do not give homework. Okay. So it is just, we show up, we do math in class. There's no math homework for those days. All right. I don't know what classroom you'll be in. I might give you the test. I might not. They haven't put out what teachers are testing who, at least for the CMAS. I know who's giving the high school kids the test, but I don't know for 7th and 8th grade. So I will be giving the test to somebody, 7th or 8th grade. I just don't know which one. And then we're going to roll right in. We're going to finish the chapter 11 on Tuesday. We're going to take the CMAS test. We're going to come back because we're done with chapter 11. We're going to take chapter 11 test. Clearly, we probably need to do 2 days of review. And maybe not. I mean, some of you are probably pretty confident with this stuff right now. But I still want to do 2 days of review because that's a long time between. That's 6 days, as Gavin pointed out yesterday. That's 6 days between review, test, and when we take the chapter test.
Truly a fake.
Okay, it is a calendar weekend, correct. All right, it is a worksheet today.
Yay.
It is a worksheet. Thank you, guys.
You have the worksheet right now.
Keegan, almost perfect.
Yours never says anything.
You wanted you to fail.
All right. Okay. I said a long time ago, and I've said probably every day, I said that most students do not have issues with multiplication division. It's pretty simple rules. They get comfortable with it very quickly, and it's good to go. And then we have this adding, subtracting thing, which you guys did fine when that's all we were doing, just adding and subtracting. So a couple days have passed. Today we return back to adding and subtracting. Today is nothing but adding, subtracting, just in a different form. And then now all of a sudden the problems start to emerge because you've forgotten the rules for adding, subtracting. So before I get started here, let's just talk about it. We're not talking about multiplication, division. We're talking about adding, subtracting. What are the rules for adding, subtracting? Go.
If the same sign for both.
If you have same signs, we're talking adding, subtracting. What do? You add. Now, the answer could be positive or negative depending on whether you're adding positives or adding negatives. If you're adding positives, the answer is positive. 3 plus 5 is 8, positive 8. Negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. Then add, subtract different signs. So what happens when you add, subtract different signs? You subtract. Now, the answer could be positive. It could be negative. It depends on which one you have more of. If this is not really fresh in your mind, then you need to have this at the top of your paper, open box somewhere. Tonight for homework, all we're doing is adding, subtracting. Again, like why are we doing that again? It's in a different form. Well, you can see it right now. Solving equations. But today we're going to have positive and negative numbers intermixed between each other. We're also going to use big boy, big girl notation for negative numbers from now on. No more of that negative number upstairs to the right. It's going to be, upstairs to the left. It's going to be smack dab in the middle. Now remember, there's only one thing you got to keep track of for subtraction. That's when you have two negatives next to each other. They will not be in parentheses today. You have something like this: 3 minus 5. What do?
3 minus -5.
We take these two negatives and we do what? Make one positive. So this is really 3 plus 5. You can take it from there. Okay. That's it. This rule right here is the overarching rule, but there's this one special case for subtraction when two negative signs are next to each other. If this initial one is negative, well, it stays negative. Okay, but the two middle ones, if you have two minus signs next to each other, turns into not one and a negative, but just one positive symbol. Okay, Abby, you with me? Anybody need to write that down? Okay, we'll see. All right. It's kind of a medium class. It's not super long, right? It's not super short either. All we're gonna do is combine what we've learned for adding, subtracting positive and negative numbers with solving equations. Last night for homework, you solved equations that involved division problems. You multiplied both sides. Okay. Today it's gonna be adding, subtracting. So here we go. We've done this before. You guys know the rules. I made a big deal about talking about the script yesterday. You heard it multiple times yesterday. Let's just make sure we have our key ideas of algebra fresh in our mind. There are 3 of them. Who can give me one of the key ideas of algebra? Go.
Where's the variable? Left or right side?
Those are the questions you ask yourself. But there's 3 overriding key ideas in algebra. What's the main thing that we always do in algebra?
Solve for x.
What does that mean?
Solve for the variable.
That's what a math teacher says. Solve for the variable. What does it mean? Everyday speak, like a human being speak, not a math teacher. How do you know you're done?
When the variable is by itself.
That's what a normal human being would say. X is on one side of the equation, left or right, doesn't matter, all by itself. That means there's nothing there attached to it. There's no numbers there, there's no negative symbols, nothing. It's just plain old X or whatever the variable is all by itself. That's the first key idea. Number 1, write that down, box 1A. The key idea in algebra in red, write down what's in red. Elijah, turn around, right. Your job is to get the variable by itself. And I realize that's a math teacher saying. What Dea said is what you need to be thinking about. It's on one side of the equation, left or right, all by itself. There's nothing over there with it. That's key idea number 1. Anybody remember the other 2? These aren't how you do algebra. These are the ideas of algebra. There's 3 of them, 3 main ideas. What?
Inverse.
Okay, that's going to be our 3rd one. The second one, oh, by the way, this is visually what it looks like. X is by itself on the left side. What's on the right side, once you have X by itself, is the answer, the solution. All right, whatever you do on one side, you must do the other side. That is the key idea. I even showed you when I taught you algebra way back when, I said you can even do the wrong thing. It's one of the few times in math you can literally do something wrong and still get the question right as long as you do it to both sides. I don't recommend it, You're supposed to subtract 3 from both sides, and instead you subtract 5. As long as you do it to both sides, you can technically still get to the right answer. You've just added yourself extra work. But you have to do the same thing to both sides. High school, you probably won't see it too many times next year in 8th grade, but in high school, kids will, they're dealing with big, long, honking equations. And what will happen is they'll do something over here, they'll do something over here on the left or the right side of part of the equation, but not to everything in the equation, and they get it wrong. And I say, hey, you're supposed to multiply everything by 2, not just some things by 2. The last one you said, so to get the variable by itself, we need to do something to both sides, right? And that something is called the inverse. So the thing that we're going to do to both sides, right, is I'm going to skip this part right here. This was just whatever we do to one side, I've got to do the other one. The thing that we have to do is do the inverse. That's how we get rid of things. That's why when I say this script thing, I always say, where's the variable? What's attached? How it's attached? Do the inverse. So the 3 key ideas of algebra. Get the variable by itself. That's our goal. That's what we do when we do algebra. This year, we basically see up to 2-step equations. Pre-algebra next year, you see 4- and 5-step equations. Turns out in high school, it's not like, okay, now we do 10-step equations. Well, they're a little bit more challenging, but we really don't do that many steps. There might be one time, I'm thinking of one specific case where there's 10 things we have to do. But most of the time, it's, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 things you got to do. You're not that far away from solving, I don't know, high school level algebra problems. Not that far away. All right, 3 key ideas. Next box is blank. Now we're going to write the steps. Like, what do you, okay, now you've asked me to solve an equation. What are the steps? There are 4 steps. I call them the rules, or the, not the rules. I call them the steps or the questions. That's what I'm looking for. The questions that you can ask. Box 2, write these down. There's 3 questions and 1 statement. This is that script that I always, when I don't know how to solve it, I always say this, hey, where's the variable? Is it by itself? Well, the answer is going to be no. The answer is yes, you're done. You have the answer. But if the variable is not by itself, then you simply identify what's attached to it. The only difference between a 5-step equation and a 1-step equation is there'll be 5 things attached to x. Today, there'll be 1 thing attached to x, a 1-step equation. Then we ask ourselves how it's attached. It's either attached by, at least this year, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. High school, we get a couple more. But until you get to 9th grade, and even next year, all you'll see is add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That's it. High school, you get some more. Square roots, absolute value symbols. You've got to learn how to solve those. Once you've found the variable, identified what you need to get rid of, identified how it's attached, you do the inverse to get rid of it. And then you go back to step number 1 and repeat the process. Hey, is the variable now by itself? No. All right, we'll continue on. Today, like I said, there's 1 step, but it will involve positive and negative numbers, integers, from now on. I can't think of too many problems in 8th grade that don't involve negative numbers. And your fluency, your fluidity or your ability to comfortably and quickly solve equations that involve negative numbers are what kind of separates you from saying that algebra isn't too challenging to being stuck on a problem. You are in 7th grade, so some of you should be, still working your way through the I got to think about this. Just like in 3rd, 4th grade when you first learned multiplication, you had to think your way through 8 times 7. Now you simply say 63 and you're done, right?
No.
Okay. So now, hopefully, you don't say 63, you say 56. But I know that some of you still kind of do. Right? So be careful with that. 8 times 7 was my problem. All right, so what's different today? The only thing different today is there's going to be negative numbers. Negative numbers. Just like yesterday, last night for homework, you had negative numbers for solving equations. Now you have them, but it will involve addition and subtraction. So remember, here's one that doesn't involve negative numbers. Keegan, where's the variable? Left or right side?
Left.
What's attached to it?
2.
How is 2 attached to x?
Addition.
How do we get rid of addition?
Subtraction.
What are we going to subtract from both sides?
What?
What are we going to subtract from both sides?
2.
2, because 2 is the number I'm trying to get rid of. So x is on the left side. What's attached to it is 2. Attached by addition, so we get rid of addition by subtraction. We subtract 2 from both sides. Make sure you draw this horizontal line just like that. Don't put it between. Putting it between means division. Putting it underneath means adding and subtracting. Okay. This is how I would like you to just always be in the habit. Now we're doing adding and subtracting. Well, 2 minus 2 goes to 0. That goes away. But hey, look at these two numbers. Same or different signs? Different means what? Add or subtract? Different means add or subtract.
Subtract.
So subtract those two numbers.
3.
More positives, more negatives. You're like, what? I don't need to do that to do 5 minus. I agreed. But if you're not always looking out for negative numbers, you can get, I don't know, lulled into a false sense of security, and all of a sudden, oh wait, it was more negatives than positives. So just always think about that. Hey, the signs are either going to be the same or they're going to be different. Same means you add, different means you subtract. When you subtract, just make sure you always ask yourself more positives, more negatives. All right, you said more positives. Last time you're going to see this. Do we really need to put the 0 here? We don't. So we go from that step to simply writing x equals 3 and we're done. I do show this step initially just so that you're comfortable with the fact that it didn't just literally disappear. It turned into 0, but x plus 0 is x. The addition property of 0 says that 0 added to anything is itself, or the number you started with more precisely. Okay, the big but here today is the fact that we are going to be having negative answers or negative numbers. You're like, there's no negative numbers up there yet. Watch what happens. Malachi, where's the variable? What's attached to it? How? How do we get rid of addition? What are we going to subtract from both sides? What are we going to subtract from both sides? So let's subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, well, that doesn't seem like it's any different. 6 minus 6 is 0. Same or different signs?
Different.
So does that mean add or subtract?
Subtract.
Subtract the numbers. Big minus small gives you?
Negative 2.
Gives you 2. More negatives, more positives.
More positives.
That's why the answer is -2. Hey, we got our first negative answer.
Easy.
Okay, if you follow that procedure for adding and subtracting, you just look at the signs, right? Some of you are pretty quick on that. You already knew just by looking at, oh, it's -2. Agreed, you can do that. Gavin? Go for it. All right. Here we go, box 3. Try that again. Box 3. Where's the variable, Kira? Left or right side?
It's a negative 17. Right?
Okay, what's attached to it? How's 3 attached to x? How do we get rid of addition? We get rid of addition through multiplication. Subtraction. What are we going to subtract both sides by?
3.
So we subtract both sides by the number we're trying to get rid of, 3. Okay, 3 minus 3 is 0. What's same or different signs? So does that mean add or subtract? Same means add, different means subtract. So 21 minus 3? 18. More positives, more negatives. Well, the answer is x equals 18. You're like, no, it says 18 equals x. That's the same equation. You got it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Is that all we're doing? Yeah, that's all we're. Maybe we're doing more examples, but that's all we're doing today.
Can I get the
All right. No, we're gonna go through. We're almost done. Chill out. All right, here we go. Bo, where's the variable? Left or right side? This box 4, everybody.
Right.
What's attached to it?
10.
How? So what do we got to do to both sides? What do we subtract from both sides? 10. Subtract 10 from both sides. All right, 10 minus 10 is 0. Hey, same or different signs.
different.
Different means do what? Add or subtract?
Subtract.
Okay, subtract. Big minus small gives you
6.
more negatives, more positives.
Negatives.
Boy, it sounds easy, right? Whenever I call on someone and I say that script, and then all of a sudden I say, do these by yourself, and people will start getting them wrong. I know I've said this many times. If you follow that script, you're less likely to get it wrong. It doesn't have to be, I try to talk as fast as I can when we get to the point where we're at right now, where almost everybody gets it. But that script can be running in your head. You don't have to say, oh, it's going to take too long if I say that. Like I said, when I walk someone through the script, they get it right every time. I let you do it by yourself, all of a sudden problems happen. It's because you're not following the script. Once again, it doesn't matter which way you write it. The book will always put the variable on the left and the answer on the right, but it can be written either way. All right. Box number 5. Caden, where's the variable, left or right?
It's on the,
So I'm looking at the left side. Anything attached to it?
yeah, two
How's 2 attached to x?
position.
So how do you get a root addition? So what are we going to subtract from both sides? We subtract 2 from both sides. All right, Caden, same or different signs?
Same.
Same means add or subtract. Add those 2 numbers.
X equals -8.
We get -8, so therefore x equals -8. Who's lost? Right? How many people would like the worksheet right now? All right, I'll talk faster.
Or you can just give it to
All right,
us.
box 6, do it, please.
I've done it all.
Already done it. -5, 9, 4,
I've done it all.
Good. Now check your work.
Look over there.
Mr. Chartier,
We're almost there.
can I tell you something?
What?
There's a hole in your ceiling.
There's thousands of holes in the ceiling.
Yeah, do you want to know something?
And whenever someone irritates me, I tell them that they must count the number of holes.
You want to know something?
What?
There's a big hole in Mrs. Coleman's ceiling now.
Did you throw your pencil into the
No,
ceiling?
that would be Richard.
Yeah.
Mr. Richard.
Why is there one name that always comes up?
I don't know.
Because he has a tendency of throwing things in the roof. He's been doing it.
Richard and I will have a little discussion today.
No,
You
no,
should go
listen,
show it
it's
right
not his
now.
fault. It's just habit. He's been doing
Just
it.
happened.
No, it's habits. He's been doing it since he was in like the 3rd grade. He's always got in trouble for it.
He is closer to the ceiling than any of us.
I mean, I'm
No, not Miss Boyd.
That's true.
No, for a question, she asked us, who's your favorite teacher over like 6'7"? And we're like, huh?
Over 6. Oh,
Yeah.
she's that tall? I didn't realize.
No, he's 6'4" and she usually wears boots with heels.
You notice these things?
I
Yes.
asked her how tall she was, and then she usually wears boots.
Yeah.
with
I'm like
heels.
6'1". I'm like 6'1".
No, you are not.
This was
6
taller
foot.
than me when I
No,
If
you're
someone's that tall, I
You're
just think of them as being tall. I don't
You're
know.
not 6 foot.
You're not 6 foot.
That's what-
You're about as high as me, and I'm around like 5'6".
You're not 5'6".
I am. I'm
Stand
as
up.
tall. I'm as tall as my mom. My mom's.
You're taller than me. I'm 5'7".
Wait, I'm taller than you.
You're as tall as me. I'm 5'7".
Yeah.
And then
Oh, so
there's-
I'm
You're
5'7".
taller
So
than
you're
me.
saying that close enough. His guess was close.
You might have been 5'6" at the start of the year.
I'm like 5'4".
All right,
Hard
here
to,
we
like,
go.
He's
Final
also like
answers
5'6".
only. Here we go. Final answers only. Josh, first one. Final answer. Upper left. X equals -5. Very good. Lily, bottom left. Final answer. X equals 4. Oh, 100%. Jasmine, upper right. X equals 9. And the last one. What do you got, Keegan?
What? X equals -6.
Okay.
Oh my
What would you do to both sides?
Wait,
What would you do to both sides?
subtract 4.
100%. Same or different signs.
Different. I mean, same.
So what do you do for same signs? Add. Ah.
You see, I'm not the
So I'm going to go back one more time. No, I didn't pay him to make that mistake.
Yeah, you did.
If you do the script, you get it right. I mean, I didn't have to do anything except I didn't say, hey, you're wrong, Keegan. You guys were. All I do is say same or different signs, and he goes, oh, right? Say the script to yourself. I mean, some of you are like very confident. That's fine. But for those of you who are like, just say the script in your head. You'll get it right. Trust me. Just like what he did.
I just
What-
got thrown off.
I know, but I'm saying if you had said to yourself same or different signs, notice I also touch. Same or different signs. Those two processes of saying and touch. You can take your pencil and go same or different signs. That forces you to look at the two signs. Those are all ways of just keeping yourself from making silly mistakes. He knew what to do. All right, let's do some subtraction. We'll call it a day. Nick, what are we doing here?
Add 10,
Add 10 to both sides. So we add 10 to both sides. We get x equals
14.
14. The signs are the same. That would mean add. Elijah, what are we gonna do on this one?
You're gonna add 8.
We're gonna add 8 to both sides. Same or different signs? You talk,
Same. Wait, what side?
either side doesn't matter.
Base.
They are different. So what do you do when the signs are different?
Subtract -4 from 8.
Okay?
And then you get -4 for x.
Because there's more negatives than positives.
No. Okay, just 4.
You see what happens? Every single time I simply tell you to just read the script, you get it right. When you try to do it by yourself, you're getting it wrong. All I had to do was take my little green dot and say same or different signs, and all of a sudden, oh, you're right. It's +4, right? He was convinced it was -4, and then all I did was same or different signs. You get it right. Do that to yourself when you're doing the problem. What? Hold on, we're almost done. All right, box 7. Here we go. Jaden, where's the variable? Left or right side?
Right.
Okay, what's attached to it? How many people understand that this problem right here is the one that will cause almost all of you to get it wrong? Okay. What number are we trying to get rid of? -3. This plus right here is the sign of the x. It's not what attaches, it's what's attached to, or it's what's the sign of the x. I'm trying to get rid of a -3. How do you get rid of a -3? You add 3. This plus will cause many of you to say, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Can you see it? Because you're thinking that -3 is attached by addition. It's -3 that we're trying to get rid of. You don't get rid of -3 by subtracting 3. That turns into -6. So we're going to get rid of the -3 by adding 3 to both sides. Can you see it? This is the one problem that even in the 8th grade, kids will get wrong. Same or different signs, Jaden?
Same.
You just said both. Which one? Same or different signs? What's the sign of the 3? What's the sign of the 3? What's the sign of the 7? So does that mean same or different? That means same. So what do? So add. So final answer? Questions? Yeah.
-11, 11, -7, 3.
All right, here we go. Box 8. Oh, there's lots of negatives running around. I need to call someone who's good at this. How about Felicity? You're pretty good at this. I would bet Felicity's grades over your grades, Ace.
I don't care. I can still. That's because of homework. I don't do it because it's pointless.
You can have that conversation with your mom. Right.
No, put
All
that
right.
in the email you said that.
No, I won't cut because legs out from that. But here we go. But if your mom does ask, I will use that line. Felicity, where's the variable? Left or right side? What's attached to the x? How is the 5 attached to the x? How do we get rid of subtraction? What are we going to add to both sides? Same or different signs? That means add or subtract. So subtract. More negatives, more positives. So the final answer is? You sound very confident with yourself. You did it perfect.
That's how she always sounds.
Yeah, sure. That is how she always sounds.
That's perfect. Good job. All right. Questions?
Physically or mentally?
All right. Last box. We're done. Get them done. Last box and we're done.
Can I answer all?
No, but you can answer one.
11, 7.
Chill.
It's literally just 11, 3.
If it makes you feel better, I have all
What?
Let's go.
Yeah.
That makes
Do
you
you
feel
wanna
better.
know how you get A's and B's, Mr. Sharkey?
How do I get A's and B's?
Yeah.
By doing homework, even though it's pointless.
No, you cheat on your test.
Oh, wait.
I'm not gonna endorse that for sure.
He's copying my tactics. I mean,
Hey.
Keegan, what?
So for number 7, how there was a negative.
Yeah.
and
So what is this number right here?
-3.
So -3 is what we're trying to get rid of. Then you think about it. How do I get rid of -3? Oh, I'd have to add
So if
3.
there's a negative, you have to get rid of that.
And this is, check it out. If it was written on the other side, if X was on the left side, if I just flip that around, nobody gets it wrong, because then it would say X minus 3 is equal to 7, and then nobody gets it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But when I flip it the way I present it right here, a lot of people get it wrong because they see this plus and they're thinking I need to subtract, because all the other times, for instance, X plus 4 equals 10, they see that plus and they're like, oh, I need to subtract. Yeah, because remember, that's the sign of the 4. The thing to the left is the sign of the 4. So I really am getting rid of a positive 4. But over here, it's not a positive 3, it's a negative 3. This is the only time, this is like the math teacher, hey, you want to see how many people really get it 100%? Throw a bunch of these up there and you'll get lots of kids that'll get it wrong. Write it with the variable on the left side, everybody gets it right, because then it's X minus 3, and everybody knows it adds 3 to both sides. All right, Caden, first one, final answer, upper left.
X equals 11.
X equals 11, very good. Jameson, bottom one, final answer.
3.
You got to, when we solve equations, it's always
X equals 3.
X equals 3, very good. Now, I wrote 3 equals X, remember that's the same thing. Abby, upper right. Okay, or X equals 3, either one. What else did I say could do one?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Oh.
Kaylin, last one, go.
X equals
And we are done. Questions on what we did today?
I'm so glad you did that all week, because I got one. What is up with that kid? Why does he have one eye and just a tiny dog?
I don't know. He has some strange disease. He's got one big, maybe got punched in the face. I don't know.
Spomer's disease.
All right, here is your homework. We have a solid 15 minutes. All of you can get this whole thing done. There are what, 20 questions? There are 20 questions. We have 15 minutes. That's less than a minute per problem. I think you can do the whole thing.
Are you gonna pass him back?
Dude, I'm not wrong though.
Just not do the job.
Okay, get that done. Come by. I'm knocking things over. I will be so happy next year when I can put the desks back to where they will need to be.
Which is where they meant to be.
On my desk, I always put two together, so I always have pairs.
But you can't do that.
Can't do it because of COVID right now.
I like this.
All right, Elizabeth, if you have any questions, send me a chat or email. If not,